on 882 6PR, the voice of Perth.
You see, that's on a little part of the computer that's isolated from the problem part, and that allows me, I think, to introduce our special guest. First of all, a world champion boxer, and I have it from some very great martial artists, a real champion, a mum from Cardinia, Louisa Hawton. And I'm really, really glad to have you here first up. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad, and the reason you're here is this man here, who's a fan as I'm becoming, Brett Bonetti. G'day, Bretsky.
Hello, Tony. I thought you were going to introduce me first, as always. What's going on? I know you got a champion in the world in the studio, but come on.
It's all about respect, mate. Who's going to hurt me more? And, mate, you ain't nothing.
True.
He's been getting a bit jealous of me tonight, so...
Yeah, I have.
Oh, mate, I can understand why. And I tell you what, we'll take I'll get Brett to take a selfie. We'll put it out on our Twitter account. A beautiful mother of two from Cardinia in the boxing ring. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. A couple of other things I want to, if I can ask Louisa to please be patient and not hit me very much. Brett, mate, what happened? I saw after your chat about Bieber some more criticism and of some other treatment of fans and everything as well. What's gone on with that?
Well, I just got massive feedback from our chat from last week, so that I never got a response back from them again. So it's amazing how they were responding all the time.
Yes.
And then I think that I got requested to put that up on YouTube, which will probably be going up soon. So, hey, the bad publicity comes to those who deserve it. So we'll go from there. I'll leave it there, but you said it best.
Around.
Yeah.
And listen, dear listener, Brett's sitting here and he's got this bodyguard right next to him, so he's serious about this stuff, all right? Mate, wonderful bodyguard. We'll have a yarn with her in just a moment, but I just want to quickly cover great news, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you and the UFC what the new Labor WA government means for martial arts, for safety, and for tourism. I'm looking forward to that. Oh,
it's massive news. There's a massive big day for the UFC and all MMA fans in WA. Quite simple. Mark McGowan promised if he won the election that he was going to overturn the ridiculous cage ban that's been in place for mixed martial arts in this state. Well, the only place in the world that allowed the sport but only to take place in a boxing ring. That's going to change, which is brilliant. The UFC will probably come here in early 2018, I'm guessing February. And that's not the only thing as well that sealed the fate for Colin Barnett, besides of all the other issues as well. But a couple of days leading out, when Mark McGowan said that he will sell the naming rights for the Perth Stadium and the Perth Arena, I thought that's very clever. By doing that, he's making the state $10 million probably per stadium, and then Mr. Barnett comes out and says, "Oh no, that don't be so ridiculous. It's going to cost Perth events, and why would it do that?" There's no history behind those stadiums. I totally agree with him. It was
Barnett
the MCG.
Stadium.
It was the MCG. I totally agree with him because that's over 100 years old. That's got heritage. But
this is brand spanking new.
Yeah, exactly. There's no history behind it.
I wasn't a fan of
sneeze at $10 million.
Subi, but this is a new one. This is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, exactly. So just by getting the UFC here, by selling the naming rights to the stadium, there's like $20 to $30 million right up by basically common sense. And that's what we've been talking about since January 2013 when the cage ban
Well, mate,
came
congratulations to you and to me and a few other people who've asked for
common
common
sense. You sold
sense.
a whole Palele.
Occupational health and safety, common sense, and we can make some
one under
progress.
Mr. Mark McGowan on a great election win, but also common sense prevailing as well. So when callers who didn't know about the subject, thinking that they had the perception that the sport was banned, when he explained it, right, well, no, the sport is already here. It just takes place in a boxing ring, which is unsafe. Don't be so ridiculous. They realised. So common sense prevailed, and congratulations to the new Premier-elect.
Absolutely. And just to let listeners know, as I've said before, we've had 8.5 years of a Liberal Barnett government, and I've been highly critical. I'll apply the same microscope and spyglass to this government and call it as I see it. And if they do good, I'll be happy to praise them and encourage that. But once
you put yourself under scrutiny, and that's
accountability is what people are demanding now. And I think the size of their mandate and the results in other states and federally and Trump has given our politicians a bit of a serve, and they've got to wake up to looking after the voter, not their campaign contributors.
I've never been so interested in politics since this period. It's been amazing. But even this morning with Gareth Parker, with the talk about signing statute. Declaration saying that I'll sign this if I hadn't spoken to the media, and that it's like, what? Are you serious?
My goodness.
Those two people that didn't sign it may be innocent. They might be thinking, I'm not signing that out of principle. The people that are actually guilty might have signed it and think, yeah, right. So that doesn't prove a thing. It's fascinating.
Very little good comes of that sort of thing. But enough of that boring stuff. We have an exciting Australian, an exciting West Australian and Perth lady here. And first of all, Bang Bang Lulu, you must be thrilled to have the success you've had. But also, that's a cool name, Bang Bang Lulu. I mean, that's immediate respect there, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a good name. It's actually come from my skateboarding days, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just carried over and...
Skater girl as well. Oh, mate, I'm triply impressed now. By the way, this young lady who's entertaining and obviously very talented won a WBO world title in, I think, August last year in Japan. And I've been over in Japan. I've seen the fighting over there, and that's a tough environment. How the heck did you come out as world champion in that tough, very disciplined environment? Even the fans are disciplined there, aren't they?
Yeah, no, it was a really awesome experience, and we trained really, really hard for it because there was a few setbacks with the fight. Was meant to take place in South Korea, so yeah, like I'd been in training camp and I was pretty confident and I was really hungry, so I guess that really helps. Going in there, I was happy to travel and experience a different country, and I think they actually welcomed me quite well. If they didn't, I couldn't understand them anyway, so it didn't matter. I just smiled at them, and they smiled back, so happy days.
Did you notice, too, that in Japan, almost everywhere I went, you nearly get polited to death?
Yeah, it's a super nice place to be, and I'd love to go back and go for a holiday or fight
skiing,
there again.
Snowboarding.
Oh, I'd love to go snowboarding.
Neighbours right near Mount Fuji. I'll hook you up, girl.
I'm already talking about it with my friend because he just got back, so we're like, January we're going snowboarding.
Wow.
I was always concerned about Lulu going over there because whenever Australian goes overseas, you have to sort of win really dominant to get the title because you could win the fight but get a raw decision. She dominated her opponent, and there was just no way they could rob her.
You have to do that. That's what I was trying to allude to when I was talking about winning away. So thanks, Britsky.
Yeah, I think that it actually blew them away because they were definitely in for the night for the win, do you know what I mean? So
I bet you when you were greeted by officials afterwards, the bow was deeper at the end of the night than it was at the beginning.
It was, but I think they were scratching their head, to be honest, because I know that my opponent had spent a few months in Mexico training, preparing with world champions above her and below her, so she got a really awesome training camp in. So
but you're from Perth. Game over.
I know they asked me after, where have you been training? And I said, just in my backyard.
Wow. Who is your trainer?
My trainer's Mark Jansen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he's based over east, and he was the Aussie champ back in the early 90s.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you're very young. How long have you been fighting? Like a lot of young West Australians, you probably started very young.
No, I've only been boxing for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, and I had
World championship in 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, I'm just taking another step back.
She's good, isn't she? Now, when she walks into the room, I was a special guest at the International Women's Day luncheon last week, guest of Barbara McNaught, and the winner of the International Women's Day 2017 Wonder Woman of the Year was Louisa Lulu Bang Bang Hawton, also the WBO Women's Light Flyweight Champion of the world. It's been a great year.
Hey, and not only that, you're the mother of two, and how old are your kids, and what do they think about you fighting?
Yeah, my son's 9 and my daughter's 6.
Wow.
And yeah, they really supportive.
They'll be getting their heads around it at that age.
Yeah, they like it. I think they kind of spin out at school. Some kids just run up and ask when I'm in, is that your mum?
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, they're really super supportive. They send me songs and pictures because when I do my camps away over east, it's pretty hard being away from them, but they're always
That's the commitment
supportive.
you need to be a top flight world champion.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's one. And you've, like so many people haven't done, you've actually delivered at the end for the investment and the sacrifices you've made. I can't imagine what it's like. Tell me what it's like to tell your children, "Oh, g'day, son. I've won a world championship for you." What's that like?
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. Like coming home with the belt, couldn't wait to see the
belts.
kids. I know, but they love putting it on, you know.
So did I. I was wearing it last week at the luncheon.
I didn't see you, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm super proud, and I hope to win a few more for them to rock around the house. So.
Oh, it's brilliant. Are they sparring at all, or are they interested in training or learning some basics?
Well, every now and then they'll come out, but they're not so into it, and it's not something that I'll push on them. If they show interest in it, then I'll welcome it, but if they're not, then that's their choice.
I've been teaching my 7-year-old BJJ, and he's loving it, especially when he gets me in a rear naked choke and gets 2 hooks in him.
You tap out pretty quickly, don't you, Tony?
Seriously. Mate, he's only small, he's only 7, but you know when you're against another fighter who's got balance?
Yes.
And he gets his little frame just over my centre of gravity, so I'm on the back and I'm like a turtle.
It's good training for discipline as well, so
yes.
and health and fitness.
No, it is. I
and
think
they
all
see
the martial
your discipline.
arts is. Yeah, well, that's one of the main things I'd like to install in my children is to have a good
2
work
things.
ethic and go for
Respect
their
and
goals,
discipline,
you know? Yeah, just having the passion to go for whatever they dream.
And you got a big backup to your argument, a pretty cute belt.
Yeah, I've got a
Gives you a bit
couple
of
now,
authority, doesn't it?
Yeah,
a lot of people are taking photos of it now, myself included.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll be in the
Yeah,
shop
should have brought
too.
it
While my
tonight.
back's turned, they're sneaking photos.
Would have brought it in tonight, but we're at a boxing event. I was sitting ringside with the champ, watching some great fights. CDL Boxing Promotions Western Alliance 20, the St. Patrick's Day Bash was tonight.
Brilliant
So
stuff.
we had a good night of all boxing actions.
Was the Hitman down there?
Hitman was down there. Funny, the guy turns up everywhere, doesn't he? But the Hitman was there.
Go to
Kim
Facebook,
Johnson.
say Hitman Photography into your Facebook search and have a look at some awesome
He had a different role
photographs.
tonight. He was basically taking before and after shots.
Oh,
So he was
wow.
spending a lot of time at the back taking the fight pics of the fighters
Prep.
before and then taking them straight after and having to chat
What
to
a
them. So-
great insight,
so
because I
even-
love going back into the change rooms.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you see them and the smell of the liniment and the final instructions and people doing weird routines
Yeah.
and having their guru there.
That's when it's all exciting.
Yeah, CDL Boxing headed by Ty Coleman and David Letizia, and put another good show. Again, the first 5 fights tonight were the amateurs, so it's like they're the up and comers, wanting probably trying to get
Sometimes
the
they
Commonwealth
do
Games
the fight of the night.
or the Olympics, for example, and then they get to sit back and watch the professionals of the last 5 fights of the night. So it was a very good night. So of course Perry Cale, the ring announcer, but do you notice that he keeps on calling it the Emporium Function Centre? Perry, it's the Empire Function Centre. I think he just likes the sound of Emporium. I'm not sure.
Maybe it sounds classy.
Yeah, but Alison Norton headed up the auctions, and of course you mentioned Kim the Hitman Johnson. But we were sitting there for the main event. Very tactical, interesting fight, wasn't it? It was Wes Kappa, the Capinator, got the best entrances in boxing. Comes up dancing. We've spoken about it before. Comes out dancing, but. Just a special guest dancer tonight. Ty Coleman was right behind him doing a bit of a shuffle as well. I was like,
I don't know who to
check
watch.
out this guy. I've never seen him dancing before. He's got some moves, Ty.
I think he was excited.
Yeah, but it was his opponent. Now I've got this Dan Nazareno Jr. From the Philippines.
Yeah, from Manila.
Very tough, very strong. Come out very, very tough and
very
strong at the
tough
start,
fighter.
and we
It was a
thought he
pressure
might have built
fighter.
up a bit of a lead, especially rounds 3 and 4. He had Wes in a bit of trouble, but I think that he tied down a little bit and sort of Wes started using his jab a little bit more
Yeah, I
and
think
scoring on points.
Yeah,
Would
when
you agree
Wes
with that?
started moving on his feet a little bit more, and he was working that jab. He was finding those punches a lot easier. And
Was it the turning point pretty much when he found the right distance for his
yeah, I
striking?
think so. And I think his movement, when Wes got up and started moving his own movement, because the Filipino was a pressure fighter, so
That's
he was coming
put him off
forward.
There
his
was only
rhythm.
one round
Yeah.
that he wasn't pushing
And that was
forward,
the
and
fifth,
it was all
wasn't it?
about exactly right. A good analyst here of the champ, but that's exactly right. The rest of the time, the Nazareno was pushing forward, but it was all about movement for Wes to sort of start boxing smart, because I think that he got a bit sucked in in especially rounds 3 and 4, probably the easiest rounds of the fight to score. Really, it was one-sided to the Filipino boxer. So,
and as you say, Filipino boxers are known around the world. They are tough customers, and they will keep coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Manny Pacquiao and Louisa Lulu Bang Bang Hawton.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I don't speak any Tagalog, I'm afraid.
No, neither do I, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I struggle with English. Shh.
English, yeah, that's why you're a radio
You're
announcer
on the
at
radio.
60 Jeez. I'll quickly mention the co-main event. It was Jamie, the Welsh Dragon Weech.
That was
now,
good.
I want you to say Patoon Jacob.
Patoon Jacob.
Yeah, there you go.
From Queensland.
From Queensland. But Jamie Weech just all over him from round one. Right, 6 3-minute rounds.
Yeah,
6 rounds, dominated the fight.
Patoon.
Gary Ingrahan, the referee, took away a point in round 5 for holding, so it was like 60-53. I actually wrote down the score in round 4 after that point, and said that's going to be a big shutout, and one of the judges actually scored one of them 10-8 as well, made it 60, but completely dominant. Both Jamie Weech and Wes Kappa, I think they're aiming for the next fight to be for Australian title, so watch this space with those guys. But yeah, another great event at Western Alliance, and again, it's good for the sport of boxing, the sweet science in the state of WA, especially when we got champs like this in the house as well.
Oh, it's just brilliant. I'm so glad to meet you, and you should see this lady. She's got the most beautiful smile. You wouldn't pick her for a
rocket,
fighter,
I say.
But I tell you what, you lock eyes with this lady, and you know that there's some respect needed. And what's next for you? Because you've climbed pretty much the highest mountain, but you've still got goals that you've set.
Oh, absolutely.
Having worked so hard to get up to this level, where's your next bout?
Yeah, well, we're still working really, really hard. You know, with my title fight, I came up 2 weight divisions to fight for the 108 title, and I'm looking to go back down.
You are channeling a bit of Pacquiao.
Yeah. I'm looking to go back down to the 105-pound weight, and I've been made mandatory for the WBO title, so we're just waiting for that one to come through, and I'd like to be the undisputed champion in the 105, and then later step back up to the 108.
Wow. By the way, these weights we're talking about, our friend Bang Bang Lulu, she has to run around in the shower to get wet. She's not a huge lady. But do you find, what I've found with the men's as well over the years, that you have to be very careful in the lighter weights because of the number of blows, etc. But I just wanted to get a mum's perspective, because there are a lot of people who don't get boxing and don't like boxing and all the rest of it. With the number of blows that you take as a mum, obviously your kids are first. You're not going to put yourself at risk.
Yep.
What would you say to those people who are concerned that first a male might fight, let alone a female, let alone a mum?
I mean, we're learning a lot about what we're doing. So it's not like we're coming off the street and jumping into the ring and trying to punch each other out. There's actually a lot of technique to it, and we learn a lot of defense, which is, you know, very, very handy in the ring, and a lot of movement. So it's, you know, you're taking a risk to go in and do boxing, but you're taking a risk to drive down the street or jump on a plane. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And we had figures out from Des from Sport and other things, and the most dangerous thing you can do in Australia is ride a horse. There are more fatalities from that than any other thing.
Said that to me, which I would never have picked.
So there is an understandable psychological concern. How can it be any good when you have 2 humans deliberately trying to hit each other in the head and the body? And it's the same thing. You think about a game of rugby where you get a pack of 6 guys smashing their heads, sometimes breaking each other's necks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the damage there can be...
But the great thing is with martial arts is we have evolved, and I've been involved for nearly 40 years now in boxing and martial arts, and we now have such good safety. The doctors, the training, we've weeded out some of the mongrel trainers and exploiters, and we run a safe, good ship right across, and fully supervised. And so I'm not asking anyone to convert to love boxing, but please understand we're serious about the respect and discipline and OH&S issues that allow us to do what we love.
There's a combat sports commission that are there at all these events, plus ringside doctors, so safety is paramount.
And they're painful. They hassle us. They hassle the hell out of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the main thing for boxing or martial arts is it gives you more outside of the ring to take into your life, because there is so much discipline. You know, you're watching what you eat, you're training, you're committed to what you're doing, so you're learning a lot of things, especially in your mind, that you can use outside of the ring in everyday life.
And even the violence part of it, you're learning the real consequences of violence, how not to hurt someone, how to defend yourself. You're learning confidence. Some of the best bullying programs are through Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
And we've got some here in Perth. But I was saved from a lot of trouble when I was taken in by the Morley Police and Citizens Youth Club at the age of 10 and taught how to box. That saved me so much. I learned respect and discipline after about 400 clips under the ear, and I recommend it to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Anything that keeps me off the street's got to be a good move.
You've seen this guy.
I've seen you on the streets before.
Yeah. And you missed me when you tried
You're
to run
still
me
hanging
over.
out on the streets. What are you talking about?
There's more and more people noticing Louisa on the streets now. So again, people are going up to her, asking for her to take photos and selfies with it now, especially with her belt when she carries it around. She carries it around everywhere as well, except for tonight.
When she can get it off you.
Yeah, exactly. When she gets it off me, but again, when she wins awards like that, the sky's the limit for her. She's getting invited to premieres. Speaking of premieres, I need to give a shout out to for Disney's Beauty and the Beast. I went to the Perth showcase during the week. Big congratulations to Natasha Louise Davis. That she's the local publicist for Disney on the ground here. She always does a fantastic job presenting these previews. Now, it's a fantastic movie. I suggest, Lula, you take your kids as well. But fantastic movie. But the presentation they put on for these premieres, it was absolutely brilliant. They even had these ballroom dance champions.
Oh, really?
You know, dancing to the Beauty and the Beast.
Now, John Lewis is the champion ballroom dancer. Did you know?
I probably got him, but these two were fantastic, and the place was set out with champagne corflutes and roses with strawberries that are made into roses. It was just a sensational evening, so big congratulations. And I said to anyone out there, it comes out next week, go and see it. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, good ups there. Hey, I'm going to say bye because we've got some callers who are going to call in. Sure. But I'm a fan. You are so engaging, and having worked alongside of a lot of female fighters over the years, it's wonderful to see the Australian and Perth tradition of world champions coming out of our own suburbs. You're an absolute legend, and we'll provide you with the audio of this to share with your children. What are their names?
Eli and Estelle.
Do you want to send out a message? Because that'll be part of the recording you can play to them.
Yeah, sure. I'd actually like to say hi to them, and I love you guys, and be good for us.
Or else. I'll certainly be good. An absolute delight to have you. A delight to meet you. I'm looking forward to coming along to your next bouts as you continue to defend.
Yeah.
And Brad, you're an absolute gem, mate. You enlighten the morning, you do.
You don't have to tell me I was there, but we only get the best guests for 6PR, being the champion of the world in the studio.
Actually, next
Nothing
time, mate,
better for 6PR.
Can you just send Lulu in and just stay home? Look,
yeah, I'll go home
need you.
next time.
You're going to make him too jealous now.
I'm grooming my replacement.
He's going to snot me next. I'm in danger everywhere.
Put him in an armbar.
Yeah, you know his weaknesses.
Oh, it's shocking.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're most welcome, and your guest as well. I'm looking forward to catching up and hopefully getting you in after your next bout and next events. And all the best to your two kids. They got a champion of a mum.
Thank you.
Great stuff.